Romantica and Pram also started taking down the other participants. However, they were more concerned about regrouping with Desir. Romantica realized that they were lucky to be transported near each other, while Pram was worried about Desir's safety. Romantica was distracted by Pram's cuteness for a bit, but she immediately focused on using her magic to check if there were other participants nearby. She found a pair and a participant who was alone. She immediately tried to take down the latter. However, her spell was inversed and cancelled. While the pair immediately confronted them, they mocked Romantica for using detection magic, as it also reveals her location. But Romantica wasn't rattled, and she was confident that she and Pram were the superior pair. The male alpha student continued to underestimate and consider them trash as they were from beta class, but he had to shut up and defend himself from Pram's attack. Pram was a little surprised that his attack didn't work, but Romantica just thought that their opponents weren't as weak as she thought. The female alpha student was worried, but her partner declared that Pram's attack wasn't enough to take him down, and he asked her to be on guard. He continued to face Pram while his partner provided support from a distance. But Pram's speed was a huge problem for them, so the male student decided to hide themselves before he asked his partner to use area magic to counterattack. However, Romantica immediately found her and took her down, and she mocked them for using a spell that revealed their location. The male student was enraged, and he continued to chase Pram around, giving Romantica a chance to channel her magic to finish him off. Romantica thought that if their opponents didn't underestimate them for being beta students, they would have a chance if they tried taking her down first. She hoped the other students would continue to underestimate them, but she also started praising Pram's strength. Pram thought it was thanks to Desir, but Romantica just called out Desir, who was hiding and watching their whole fight. Desir apologized, saying that he was impressed with their strength, so he forgot to help. Pram was overjoyed after receiving more praise from Desir, while Romantica was annoyed that Desir managed to inverse her spell easily despite her improvements. Seeing her silent, Desir thought she wanted her head patted as well. Romantica was pissed, and she asked him to never touch her head again, but in reality, she seemed to like it. At the same time, Gabriel's group continued to take down the other participants they encountered. The announcement of the other participants' disqualification caught Desir's group's attention, but they switched their focus to formulating a plan to secure themselves in the top 9. Desir thought it was impossible to clear the shadow world as the alpha students would interfere and gang up on them, so he thought that the easier plan was to survive until there were only 9 participants left, including themselves. Romantica refuted that it wasn't as easy as it sounds, but Pram was confident that they would be fine. At the same time, the rain started to pour down, so they had to get under a tree. Pram was happy that he could stick to Desir while resting. Romantica thought that she wouldn't have the courage to fight for a chance to get into alpha class if she was alone, and she thought if she accepted Donata's invitation, he would have found out that she was a commoner already. She started imagining its consequences, but her thought was interrupted when Desir started patting her head. He told her not to worry, as she and Pram were really getting stronger. Romantica smiled, thinking he was weird, but she started complaining about the head pat and his smile. She pretended to look annoyed, but she had already started to love being in the party with Desir and Pram. At the same time, the bell's sound was heard throughout the shadow world. Everyone was confused, but Desir knew that it was the signal for the start of the previous Clock Tower's survival quest. Professor Pugman and the other professors laughed. They thought it would be the end of Desir's party, while Professor Bridget could only watch worriedly. Desir's party heard a participant's scream, followed by the announcement of a participant's disqualification. Desir asked Romantica and Pram to get back. The two were confused, but they noticed the foul stench spreading while a rat-looking monster popped out from the ground. Because of their fear of rats, Romantica and Pram clung to Desir. However, Desir realized that the monster was summoning its pack, so he immediately told Romantica and Pram to run away. Desir knew that the monster was Kuldra Mouse, which uses its battalion of mice-like limbs, feeds on human blood, and never gives up once it decides on its target. Romantica used her magic to blast the rats away, but it didn't even slow the monsters down. Desir knew that they had to focus on escaping. However, no matter how much they ran, they failed to lose the rats. Romantica started to panic, as she had no idea what to do. Desir told them that they had to get rid of the rat that was in command. He immediately stopped running, and he used his blood to lure out the rat leader. Then he asked Romantica to finish it off with her magic. However, the rat's magic resistance was high, so it was unharmed after receiving Romantica's spell. Because of this, Desir decided that they should retreat, but to his surprise, Pram charged straight to the pack of monsters instead. At the same time, Blue Moon's party also started to suffer some casualties because of the monster, while Gabriel just asked his party to back down. He was confident that his fire magic was enough to deal with the monsters. Other parties also suffered at the hands of the monsters, as they underestimated the rats because of their appearance. Although Pram was completely surrounded by the rats, he was still focused on finding the rat commander, and he thought it had suffered some injuries from Romantica's attack. Desir was trying his best to rescue Pram, but they couldn't use their magic on the rats as they could harm Pram instead. However, Pram suddenly blasts through the pack of rats while piercing the rat commander with his rapier. Desir and Romantica were surprised, while the system announced that they had successfully completed the survival quest. Although Pram was safe, he was completely exhausted, and he happily passed out after hearing Desir's praise. Romantica was amazed with Pram, but she was confused when Desir asked her to watch over Pram before he left. Desir was upset with himself. Although he could deal with the monster himself, he got carried away after seeing his allies' improvement and let his guard down. He thought he was an idiot for letting Pram get harmed, and he reminded himself that his goal was to not lose any of his friends again. Before returning, Desir stared in the previous clock tower's direction. Romantica was confused after seeing Desir's bruised face. She asked what happened, but Desir just told her that it was nothing, and he asked about Pram's condition instead. Pram was also confused after seeing the bruise on Desir's face. However, Desir set it aside again, and when Pram said that he had recovered, Desir decided that they get going as he pointed in the previous clock tower's direction. He told himself that he wouldn't make the same mistake again and that he would use the perfect route to reach his goal. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.